Well, you know what? The black gangs, the Latino gangs, okay, and the Italian gangs, okay. Do they live with each other in like a safe house? Because we have plenty of safe house. Like, I'm sure you live together with your crew.
Yeah.
You don't go home and live with your mom and dad.
No,
so
no,
that it forms a bond right there.
Type,
Like,
yeah.
Right? You get the black gangs, right? At the end of the day, they go home to their family. Right? The Italian kids, they go back home to their family. But the Chinese kids, the Vietnamese kids, the Cambodians, they stay in the safe house paid by the Dai Lo.
Right.
So when you're living together and you're day in and day out, you form that bond. You know, that it's like a family.
Right. No, I feel you. But even when I was a kid, even when I was in the gangs, right, there was a certain type of respect that I seen the gangsters show the police even. Like it was just like, it was something that I feel like culturally that I seen that you don't see in other gangs and other things. Like, cause
you know
even
why?
when we was on the street, like they wouldn't. The cops come, how you doing? Good morning, sir. Like it was always like that. It was never like fuck you, eat a dick. Like, you know what I'm saying? But after, I mean, so when I seen the Chinese side, then when I went into the other side and I started dealing with the other gangs and I went to prison, it was like straight, we don't talk to you, fuck you. Like,
Okay.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Which way is smarter? The smarter way of doing things. The police, we know you're just doing your job. We're not gonna say fuck the police, this, that, right? Okay, we're gonna give you the respect as long as you give us the same respect back. Okay. Right. But if you catch me, okay, you did your job. You got me.
Right.
All right.
And
the
it was
Italians
this,
to do the same thing because
right, Italians did the same
it leaves
thing.
it open, leaves room open for them to.
Right.
Okay, they'll take money from you. Okay, but if you say fuck you, this, that, you think it leaves room open? That's why the Chinese get away with a lot of shit. Because they were able to pay off, you know, the police. Look at Big Head walking around with a gun sticking out, and hey, put your gun away. You know, put your jacket over the gun. You know, it's like they get paid off in those days. The police.
Right.
You know, because if you did that, like the other gangs say, fuck you, and you're disrespecting them. When you disrespect them, they're gonna be more of your enemy.
Right.
They're gonna be on your ass even more, even harder.
For sure.
So look at the Italians. Look how they do it. They were even able to get 2 cops to be on their payroll to do hits for them. Eppolito and Caracappa.
Right.
2 detectives doing hits for them.
Yo, so what's
but
up
those
with
days
this,
are over anyway.
Yeah, it's over.
It can't happen nowadays.
No, I'm just wondering because that's a perspective that I seen that I always like kind of peep. You know what I mean? It was just like a different way of viewing the police and different way of like, you know, dealing with them. Like, so. That was a question that I had, something that I noticed, you know. But how did the cops feel about the Chinese gangs?
They didn't understand it. Only the only people who understood it was the guys in the 5th precinct, guys who formed the task force, like Neil Moriello.
What do you mean they didn't understand? Did they even
force.
like? How did they see us though? How did they view the Chinese?
They view them as money makers. They're making money.
Okay.
You know, they don't want no trouble, but they just want to make money.
Right.
They make money. They made a lot of money.
And it wasn't really no. So what instance really made it like that? Okay, we gotta really get on them. Like, you know, like when
they were making money with counterfeit goods. Right, with the drugs, but you know what made them crack down? The violence, the unnecessary violence.
And who was responsible for that?
BTK was partially responsible.
Right.
I mean, you guys were at war with BTK.
Yo, we had super war with BTK. Super war with them. But the question is, have you interviewed any BTKs?
Yeah, I have Teardrop on.
Teardrop?
Yeah, Teardrop.
Oh shit, you interviewed Teardrop, huh?
Yeah. He was right there in with all the chaos.
Right.
You know, think about it. BTK were killing witnesses who were supposed to go to the grand jury.
They was different.
Yeah. BTK was bombing a police van, injured 2 cops and 8 others. Right. BTK was shooting it up with the Dongwon. It was like over 30 something shots fired at the Dong'an gambling house and injured one female, and then you got the cemetery shooting with over 120 shots fired when the Ghost Shadows.
They was going nuts. Well, that was unheard of violence in Chinatown like that. Not to that extent.
Yeah.
The Chinese didn't handle shit like that.
So because of the war, right? Think about the 3 BTK that got gunned down, execution style at that bar karaoke. That was like unheard of. When's the last time you heard three guys getting taken to the parking lot and gunned down?
Yeah. So before the BTK came into play, it wasn't really like that.
They were causing a lot of friction with the Chinese gangs. I mean, I lived through it. I lived through even before the BTK formed.
Right.
I was out in the streets when the Gum Sing was already there, and then eventually Gum Sing had a lot of members leave and formed their own gang called Canal Boys. And eventually Canal Boys was changed their name to BTK.
Right. But how do you feel about that? How do you feel about what the BTK did? But to be honest, let's be fair, right? It wasn't like they were just doing it just to do it. At first they came in. They didn't come like that, right?
At the time,
at first they came. They were brought in, but it wasn't like war immediately. There was times when they were a part of the gangs, right? And they were a part. Even what's the guy's name? David
Dye.
He was a part of what gang? What gang was he a part of?
He was not even part of a gang. He was a businessman on Canal Street selling, counterfeit goods.
Right, but there was.
But he had the gift of gab, and he had the charisma, and he was able to bring these kids together. Yeah.
But there was a lot of them were under Chinese gangs, right?
A lot of them were under Flying Dragons.
Right.
Maybe one or two.
So this is what I'm saying. What happened that they were a part of these gangs, and then they just there had to be some type of,
I think you will understand why, because when those gangs, the gangs that we know of from the 80s and 90s, if you're Chinese and you speak Chinese, speak Cantonese,
then they fuck with you more.
No. The Chinese gangs.
They bring you in more.
Yeah, they bring you in more.
We had Koreans in our time, and the Koreans would never make it past.
They would never make it.
Yeah.
The Vietnamese will never make it. Even you and me as an ABC, if we don't speak Cantonese,
right.
we're not going up
right.
anywhere than the soldier. But that's why, because you could say like racism, right? The Chinese had formed their own opinion about the American-born Chinese, because the Chinese gangs, you're talking about the Ghost Shadows, Flying Dragons, and Dong'an, the 3 gangs, major gangs in Chinatown, they were all either from Hong Kong, Taiwan, Canton, right? Maybe Taiwan, and they don't speak English. They don't speak English, so it was tight. Now you got someone like me and you come in, and we only speak English and a little bit of Cantonese.
Can you speak Cantonese?
Yeah, I speak Cantonese.
Yeah.
From the streets. Right. That's why I was accepted like that,
Right.
Now let's say me and you, we don't speak any Cantonese. We're like an outsider. We're still in the gang, but we're like outsiders. Just like the Vietnamese, they felt like they were outsiders, so they left and went with David Dye.
And they did their own shit.
Exactly. Just like the Koreans, right? They were flying Korean Flying Dragons, but then eventually they went to Korean Power.
Right.
They all went to Korean Power after that. Once they made a name for themselves, like they get their own crew together, or they get the experience from being in the Chinese gang, the Koreans.
They do their own thing.
They do their own thing. They left and they formed their Korean Power gang, in New York, and they have a chapter in New York, which is in Midtown. So that's what happened. That's why. That's how the BTK formed.
The BTK came in so crazy. I remember that. I remember that too. Yeah, they came in crazy. But I mean, what do you expect? These guys just came from the war. They're they
were hungry.
They were hungry, bro. Like you give them little scraps, they gonna bite their hand, bro. I mean,
they were determined and they were hungry, and they took over Canal Street, part of Canal Street. And
where's David Dye now? Is he like?
He's not coming out. He ain't coming out.
Huh?
Life.
He's in jail.
Yeah. He's not coming out.
Yeah, wow. I had so much beef with the Vietnamese, brother. We had super beef. I mean, but my time was after that, right? So I wasn't around for the real shit, like the shit that, you know, the funeral shootings. But still, Ghost Shadows and BTK was always like, you know, we always had so much beef with them. But then when I was coming up, we had beef with my street. My street was our biggest, Bayard Street. That was our biggest thing, you know.
The Flying Dragons had Pell Street and Doyer Street at the time, and then when Onion Head came back into the picture, that's when Fox stepped aside and let Onion Head take over.
So how long did
they were friends? Fox were friends with Onion Head, so they were friends. So he didn't mind stepping aside because he knew Onion Head was very well respected by the soldiers. You know, like Onion Head would put in work. You know, so he know that the soldiers would definitely respect him more than Fox, because Fox was more like a money manager type of, more like a day-to-day operations of the gambling house. So he stepped aside. Yeah. Ask Kid Zai. Later ask Kid Zai what he was like. And
right. So so just the Vero, I see this. What's going on with the 50 Cent thing? I seen. Oh, there's a lot of talk about that.
You know what? There's a lot of talk about, because 50 Cent posted it on his Instagram page, and we were surprised that he posted it, because it's been going back and forth for quite some time, and you know, we didn't talk about it. You know, we kept it under wraps. And then one day, you know, we had the meeting with him at the studio, and next thing you know, we were talking about the project, and he stepped out for a little bit. And then when he stepped out, my phone was like, kept getting messages. I'm like looking at the message, and I see that, oh, look at this post on Instagram. And I'm like, wait a minute, wow, he just stepped out. That means he posted the picture that we just took like a couple of minutes ago. And then I showed it to, you know, the guys from the G unit. I'm like, that was there. I'm like, oh, look at this post. And they were surprised that 50 Cent let the cat out of the bag like that, you know, because nobody was going to talk about it.
Right.
So I guess it's a good thing, because, you know, that shows that, you know, he's taking it seriously, and, you know, it's a good thing.
Man, y'all coming out with books. I need to come out with a book.
When I first,
I got a good book in me, man.
When did I see you? I see you, 2000, was this 2019 or 2016? I forgot. I think it's 2016.
16? What do you mean?
When we first met at the restaurant.
We met in 2016?
Yeah.
With who?
Steve. At the restaurant in Queens.
Oh shit!
And it was then when I told you got to.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yes, okay. Yeah.
Come out
you
with
told me about a book.
I told you about a book, all right? And I said, you know, you got to do a book, but just wait for the right time. You know, you just got to wait for the right time. And when you get enough followers, you have a nice, healthy platform.
To be honest, I feel like,
because you have a story in you.
Right. Yeah. But I feel like my story from 2016, it was a good story, and I still got that story, and that story ain't never leave, right? But I feel like now, after that, I have even more stories now, like, cause, you know, just me going to these different countries and stuff. So like, just doing the gang thing is cool. It's good, because that's where I come from, and it's very interesting. However, like, that story's been told so many different ways and angles, and like, not from my side, of course, because there's only one me, right? But it's a gang story. It's gonna, you know, the story, right? But now I feel like I have so much more.
You have so much more to offer.
Yeah, I have a lot to offer. Like, it's like a gang kid growing up around gangs, doing this, doing that. But now I'm totally 360 now. I'm totally like, well, whatever the fuck. I'm a different person now. So I feel like that I think I got a really good book in me right now.
Exactly, and it's inspirational too,
right?
Because you can inspire others. You know. Oh, we have kids out here. And your book would be perfect because the timeline. You got the first,
you gotta
second,
put me. You gotta put me
generation.
over here somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Next time we do an interview, if you want.
So this is like the first generation, the second generation in Chinatown.
What's up, bro?
And then your book.